Er,
Good morning, everybody. Can we all hear me? Okay. It has been a rough morning to say the least. Ooh, I see. Yes, fantastic. Dylan, how you feeling this morning?
Feeling pretty good. Had a nice little breakfast of biscuits and gravy. Classic American breakfast. Very
It,
good.
it sounds delicious. I had a raspberry-filled jelly donut and then a strawberry cake donut. So,
Hmm.
oh, Zoot says they're on Cup 3. Good morning, Puppy. Good morning, Craft. Good morning, Zoo. And good morning, Midori. It's always lovely to see your beautiful, beautiful names in chat. I was going to say it's your beautiful faces, but I don't see your faces. So, Dylan, you drinking on anything this morning?
Just some dark roast coffee.
Mm.
The My favorite kind of roast. I like the flavor of it much better than your standard house blend. I think dark roast is definitely the best.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a fan of the dark roasts. Good morning, Alice. Welcome to your very first discussions at brunch. Um, my coffee today, actually, I got this really cool cup from work. It's a koozie cup. So when it's empty, you can unscrew the top, slide a can in, and then screw the top back on. And then, like, the drinking part is removable. So it keeps your can cold or hot, however you like your soda pop, I suppose. And then, but the coffee that I'm drinking is Thunderbird by Native Ground Coffee, but there wasn't just enough in my filter, so I blended it with some Cafe Bustelo, which is one of my favorite coffees that is imported to America.
Hmm.
Real cheap stuff, but golly, it'll put hair on your chest. Oh, I always think to myself, if I'm gonna start a cafe, I'm just gonna call my cups of coffee cups of dirt. Because my first job was at Long John Silver's, and I'll tell you what, our coffee there was just burnt mud. It's what it tastes like.
Delicious.
Mm. I feel like a lot of people. See you later, Craft. Thank you for showing up when you did. I feel like people who are like have that main coffee shop, kind of like that PI. You know what I'm talking about? They
Hmm.
always go to that one that's like, give me that cup of Joe, and it's like, this cup always tastes like dirt. That's the kind I want to be. I wanna have that atmosphere in my coffee shop. Um, quick intro. This is Discussions at Brunch. If you've never been here before, this is our fourth episode. And we just talk about nerd topics, man. Our first episode, we did bowling. Our second episode, we did. What did we do for our second episode, Dylan?
Our second episode, we talked about um,
I can't
board
remember.
game shop.
Yeah, our
Was
card
it?
shop experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
card shop experience.
Episode 3 was game night. I was like,
Hmm.
episode 2 wasn't game night because that was episode 3. And today we're talking about MOBAs, or massive online battle arenas. Oh my goodness. Here at Discussions at Brunch, we like to get a little bit of experience, a little bit of a refresher a lot of times before we talk about something. This was like pulling teeth, getting the experience for the content.
Yeah, MOBAs are not a great experience.
Oh man, it's just after all these years of playing MOBAs, I grow less and less fond of the experience. Um, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Let's
almost always only play them if someone asks me to play them. I will never just hop on and be like, I'm feeling like playing a MOBA today, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. It was different back in like middle school and high school because like they were all the hype. But now it's mostly just dead communities and salt.
Mmm, delicious, delicious salt.
For anyone who doesn't know what MOBAs are, practically it's a team-based tactical strategy game where you normally have two teams comprised of around 5 folks. You can have less, you can have more, and you've got objectives and two bases. And normally the overall goal is to infiltrate the enemy base and destroy the practically the heart of the base. You know, the reactor, the nexus, whatever you want to call it. It's the main point of control. And normally you have different characters, and there's turrets that defend. Sometimes there's multiple lanes. Sometimes there's one lane. There's a lot of stuff that can go into it, but that's the gist of it. I think I described it pretty well. Anything you want to add on that, Dylan?
A lot of times there'll be like optional objectives too, like uh, get a dragon or something to get a buff for your whole team,
Yeah.
things like that, and minion waves that you have to manage that help you take down the towers. Because tanking that damage alone will lead to you dying. So
Well,
definitely don't want to do
depends on
that.
what game and who you play.
Hmm.
Let's hop right in to. We have to give an honorable mention. We can thank a Warcraft 3 mod called Defense of the Ancients for MOBAs. Um, that turned into a wildly successful mod of Warcraft 3, and then a lot of people from that team went on to develop League of Legends, and then the people from Valve was like, "Yo, we want in on this action," so they bought the actual intellectual property of Dota and developed Dota 2, and there's been I want to say hundreds. There's probably been around 100 in total MOBAs that have come to light, and some
Hmm.
that have just come and gone. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
it's
hard, it's a difficult genre to really break out in. I feel like a lot of indie developers tried, but against all the big names, it's kind of hard to stick out.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that is applicable to really any new developer that tries to join a specific genre. You know, like there's Call of
Mm.
Duty and Battlefield that really reign over the FPS shooter deal. Um, so anyone who tries to get in there is going to have a tough time. Um, I mean, I think that's just one of the obstacles that you have to overcome, and you just have to have a good game. Number one is what you want to start with, but then honestly, good marketing. If you can market your game well enough, it honestly could be dog. It could be absolute
Mm.
dog water, and it'd be okay.
Yeah.
Let's start off with Heroes of the Storm. What do you know about Heroes of the
Mm.
Storm, Dylan?
I know there was a Genji skin event for Overwatch for that game. That was the only time that I actually like sat down and played it for a while. It's like kind of it was marketed as kind of like a more new to MOBA player friendly type game because it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have complex item builds. It doesn't have all these like different roles really. I mean, you can kind of just go down whatever lane you want to with any character you want to in that game.
Yeah, yeah. It's a Blizzard owned game. It started in June of 2015, so it was one of the newer MOBAs, but it's dead
Hmm.
now. They stopped development for that game in July of 2022, and it shows. It
Oh
shows
yeah.
hard. But we were we tried to do a real game of HOTS last night, right? And the queue time was like 5 minutes, and it wasn't even acting like that there was anyone out there in the world searching. So
Hmm.
I ended up switching it to co-op versus AI, and we got instantly into a game. But there's an option that asks you to pick like uh, bots for your teammates or real people versus teammates, or just like a practice game. And I had people versus AI. It doesn't matter. The only accounts that are still active on Heroes of the Storm are bot accounts.
Mm, yep. They probably just forgot to like turn them off or whatever, and they just keep playing.
That
Keep
game
leveling up.
was probably the shortest game of Heroes of the Storm that I've ever played.
Yeah, yeah, we just ran it down. It was it's kind of a shame because Here the Storm is pretty unique when it comes to MOBAs because you got the whole like leveling system where you like choose different traits for your abilities, which is pretty unique, I feel. And there's always like these huge secondary objectives that really affect each map, and each map has completely different objectives.
Mm-hmm.
It it definitely mixed it up, but I just feel like the depth wasn't there, which is why the player base kind of left.
Well, it had a super, like with anything Blizzard, there's always a really big esports community around it. But the moment they announced that they were done developing for the game, the esports community left almost instantaneously. It was a huge drop, and when you have a huge player base like that just drop off the face of the earth, your queue times go up, everything goes up, and then people get tired of waiting around for queue times, so they just quit playing altogether. Um, and it's a shame because Heroes of the Storm, in my opinion, it wasn't a bad game. It was a genuinely good game. The only flaws that it has was like the amount of grinding you had to do to unlock like
Hmm.
a new character to play if you didn't want to spend like in-game money.
Yeah, and I feel like if they had like characters come in like loot boxes, because
Yeah.
I don't think the characters came. You could get characters in loot boxes. Like in League, you can get character shards and stuff from the chests, but like in HOTS, you kind of just have to grind, and you're just stuck grinding. You know, you don't get any discounts or anything like that, so it just takes forever to get a different character.
Zoot says one of the dumbest things with Heroes of the Storm was the use of Blizzard's IP for the characters. You know, I'm gonna sort of disagree. I think that was their biggest play because Diablo was already pretty big. You had oh Christ, what I can't even, like, you had
Hmm.
your Warcraft players, so they were,
StarCraft.
yeah, Starcraft as well. They were trying to appeal to their already existing fan bases. It wasn't like they were trying to increase their fan base, sort of. That just kind of happened naturally. But I think I think it played well to them. But I will agree with you in this sense. I think it was also their biggest downfall that they couldn't come up with like new characters. They had to use
Hmm.
like pre-existing ideas already.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but they said that they're not gonna shut down Heroes of the Storm, which at this point I think they should because no one's playing this game. They're just wasting money. Um, they had an event back, back in July of 2022 where they, for an appreciation for people still playing the game, they get like this mount. It's not like it's exclusive or anything. If you have FOMO and you want to get in on it, don't worry about it. You could download the game right now, and it'll still give you that stupid fucking mount.
It's a big,
Because
big lizard.
they haven't turned it off because they've completely ended development and support for the game. I think the only thing that they're willing to do now is if the servers go down, they'll do maintenance on the servers and bring it back up. But I wouldn't see a point in having to do that.
Hmm.
It really doesn't help defend the game if other IPs were its biggest draw. I mean, true. Like I said, it was their biggest catch, but also their biggest downfall. Um, with that, it helped them in the beginning, hurt them significantly in the end. But once again, not a bad game. It was a good game while it lasted. I played a decent amount of it when it was still being actively worked on. I use that term lightly because they haven't done a whole lot of work to it, but you know, c'est la vie.
Yeah, it was a shame too because there were some like really interesting characters too. There was that one like brood mother or something where you kind of just played at an RTS essentially.
Yeah,
You just controlled a bunch of minions and added buffs to teammates and stuff and just played in the back. That was unique.
but you know, I think companies make decisions and they make them for reasons. I don't know why they decided to kind of kill off Heroes of the Storm. Maybe they weren't making money off of it anymore, or just comparative to like other MOBAs in the scene, it just wasn't doing so hot. I mean,
Hmm.
what was it? Heroes of New Earth that was around for a decent bit, but they also just couldn't compete, and so they just went down the crapshoot. Um, Smite, that game's still relatively active, I think.
It
Uh,
always surprises me when I see they get a giant crossover event and I just see the banner in Steam like, oh, we have a crossover event with Magic the Gathering, which I think is what their current event is.
yeah.
Or
Thanks,
like
Hasbro.
or like Avatar: The Last Airbender they had an event for, and it's uh it's crazy how often that game gets supported despite its popularity. I don't know if it's that popular honestly,
I'm
but
I'm gonna be honest. I think that's one of the things I dislike most about Smite is all this stupid fucking crossover shit. Because like when the game first came out, it was like mythos, like gods from different religions and pantheons and shit like that. Like that was cool.
hmm
And then like
and it was
they
also third person, which
yeah,
was a big draw for me.
yeah, third person MOBA, which was interesting. I only played Joust because Conquest is for sweats. Um, but when they first started doing these crossovers, they're like, they were like, they did like Thor, God of Thunder, right? But like the comic book version of it, which I was chill with, right? Because it's still a god. It's just like a different take
Hmm.
on the god. But when they started doing like Avatar: The Last Airbender or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or I couldn't even tell you how many crossover events they've had. I think that really kind of watered down the enjoyment of kind of this idea of the battle of the gods sort of
hmm
scenario. It's like, oh yeah, fucking Jormungandr getting his ass handed to him by Leonardo, you know?
Yeah, it really throws off the theming there. It kind of ruins the experience a little bit. Um, but around when it first came out, I don't remember. It was probably like 2014-ish when it came out, I think.
That sounds close.
Um, and I had a blast playing. It was definitely my preferred MOBA at the time. I refused to play League at the time because it was salty even
Bad.
then.
It was bad.
Um, I tried Dota 2 a little bit back then, but Dota 2 is just too slow for me.
Yeah,
And
Dota 2 is
Smite,
weird.
yeah, Smite just hit that sweet spot for me, at least back then. The itemization wasn't super complex, but it was still interesting enough to give a variety of different builds, and it was just, and they had all the different game modes. They had Siege, which is 2 lanes, and they had the classic 3 lane, which I think I played the most of, and
Yeah.
Joust, which is very fun, casual game mode, which I think more MOBAs should do, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I've always had a really, even now, I could probably go back and have a lot of fun playing it.
I don't know
But
about that.
uh,
um, No, yeah, I mean, you got me into Smite. I remember you were playing it at your house one day. I was like, oh, I went in on that action, and then we played Smite on your really bad internet at the time. It was awful, but it was the new Water God had just like recently came out. The one that like did like the water walls that collapsed in, and that
Mm.
was on the old Joust map. And my lord, was that cancer to the highest degree. Um, but whatever. Kraft says even Fortnite does that. They have an event to bring anime lovers. Fortnite doesn't claim that it's the Battle of the Gods. Fortnite doesn't have like a super huge theme. Fortnite's theme is hype beast, in my opinion. Like it's literally there to attract any players of all age, of all demographics. So Fortnite, it does what it does well, and it doesn't have the limitation of a theme. They even dropped Fortnite even dropped their original game mode, which was save the world. I think was the original intention of Fortnite,
Mm.
but their secondary game mode, the battle royale mode, just popped off super hard, so they just dropped development for that. Zoot says they couldn't get past the third person of Smite, which is understandable. It's not for everybody. A lot of people like that bird's eye view, that top down experience. A lot of people feel like it gives them more view, more vision. But I like the third person view simply because it feels like it gives me more control and immersion of the character.
Yeah, I feel like, especially since it was third person, even like the basic attacks were skill shots.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually took a little. It wasn't just point and click for almost every character, except for some like ults and stuff. I think you could lock on to characters with, but
Yeah, if Heroes of the Storm is like a beginner MOBA, I would definitely place Smite at an intermediate. Like it's definitely a middle ground MOBA.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Felt like I had less control, and I don't play tactical games for immersion. That's fair. I mean, everyone has this expectation for how they want a game to feel of a certain genre. So, um, I can't I can't invalidate your experience, right? But I feel like that was the appeal for a lot of people was the ability to have more control over their character and feel like that their ability to land shots accurately made them a better player. Um, I'm not gonna lie to you though. As much as I do dislike this crossover junk, I did buy the Slipknot bundle
The
just
Slipknot.
because I really enjoy Slipknot. So I was like,
Mm.
uh, why not? It's already out here. It's not like I could tell them not to do this. That this is a
Mm.
dumb idea. But then again, you also vote with your wallet. So the more people that buy it, the more they're like, this is a good idea. Oh no, I'm a sucker for Slipknot.
Mm.
Um,
I think
Go ahead.
another reason why I enjoy coming back to that game is back when it released, they had a deal. It was like 20, $30,
Yeah.
and it gave you every single god and all future gods
Mm-hmm.
forever for the lifetime of the game. So every time I come back, there's like 30 new gods that I can play,
Yeah, the
because
the
they.
Ultimate God Pack. I think they still have it, but it's like $60 now. I think they doubled the
Mm,
price, but I could be wrong. Um, but
yep.
a lot of good
Yeah,
times
that was a long time ago when they only had like 20 gods. At-
back when
Now
the
they
game
have
was good.
100. Yeah, yeah. It's still good fun. It's just not very well balanced and pretty all over the place now. But
Yeah, I wonder what game that they stopped, development for this for. What was it? Paladins? Is that
a
right?
game I've never played. Yeah.
Paladins. That's a Overwatch clone, and Overwatch is technically a MOBA, but I don't want to talk about Overwatch or Paladins. Um, who is the fucking voodoo guy that they dropped right before they're like, oh, we're gonna slow development on Smite real quick, like,
Uh, something Monday. I think
uh,
Solar
Bob
Monday. or
Bobadilla or
no,
something
no,
like
no,
that.
something like that. He's a voodoo god or something,
Yeah,
I
but
think.
they were like, let's let's stop let's stop development for a second. Drop this brand new uh freaking character, and then they're like, we're not gonna balance him for a while, and so the game was just busted for
Mm.
a long time. It
Well,
was super annoying.
he would jump on top of a coffin and like scooch towards you and suck you in, and it did so much damage. So unbalanced.
Baron Samedi,
Baron Samedi. I knew it was something kind of like that.
or as we call him, Baron somebody,
Mm.
because fucking he was busted. That's
Yeah.
that's you just we couldn't come up with a dumb name, so it's like it's fucking somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. He was not fun to play against.
Oh, no. And then they did the same with like Jormungandr. When they dropped Jormungandr, they're like, all right, we're gonna leave this here for a while, not gonna touch it. And Jormungandr was just absent. Well, Baron Samedi and Jormungandr, I still think are pretty busted. Um,
Yeah. Around when Jormungandr first came out, he could be played in any role, which is not okay. You could play him in jungle and as a tank, as ADC. You could play him as anything and it'll work
mm.
because he was that broken.
Dude, fucking Lizard Boy plays Jormungandr nonstop. That's like his Jormungandr, Jotun, the Kukulkan,
Mm.
just like the fucking real mythical beast type characters. He plays a lot.
Yeah, Kukulkan has always been a solid character.
Yeah, let me
He's
just
been since release.
scream down lane. That'll be cool.
Just sneeze on people and do 20 damage.
No, but Smite's a good game. I still think the game's good. The community, in my opinion, has gotten extremely sweaty. Your
Mm.
casual joust games are now just super toxic.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of only ever want to play Joust with people you know on your team.
Mm.
And then even the enemy team will just start shouting at you the entire time, win or lose.
Oh, the fucking voice lines. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. I love that system. I thought it was so cool where you could just click a bunch of buttons and basically have a whole conversation with pre-recorded voice lines.
It's dumb. Oh, my God. All right. I'd like to deviate from the well-known Mobas here for a second. I want to talk to one that's near and dear to my heart. Do you mind if I do that, Dylan?
It's fine. It's okay.
Gone, but not forgotten. Hyper Universe, one of my favorite MOBAs of all time. Took the script and flipped it all the way upside down. A 2D side-scrolling MOBA. This game was fucking fantastic, dude. Its basis was like they had characters, fighters from all over the universe, so it wasn't limited. You could have mechs, you could have aliens, you could have banditos, you could have fucking gods, everything. These little 2D character guys that run across the screen, they have their fucking own abilities. It was a lot like HOTS because you upgraded your talents to do better things rather than buying equipment. It had many objectives that you could do. It felt like Mega Man, but it felt like League of Legends, but it felt like it was a super fun time always. The community on there was fantastic. The game, to me, was what gaming in general should feel like in an online community standpoint. People weren't hateful towards each other. If you were a new player, people would be willing to teach you how to play your character if you're brand new. The game rewarded you for being a good sport. Not like League of Legends where it's like, oh, here's a little bit of blue essence. No, 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 no. The game actually gave you, it's like, hey, you've played X consistent games and you've done this kind of well. Here's a little bit of extra something, a little XP boost. Here's a little something to keep you going, to keep wanting to keep going. The game was fluid. All of its movements were fluid. It wasn't blocky. Things didn't feel busted. It was very well optimized. It was very well balanced. The art style was fantastic. It wasn't pay to win. All of the skins for the characters weren't slammed together. They weren't recolors. Every skin had like its own unique flair. It was awesome. But it didn't last. That game only lasted 1 year. And its big issue was corporate buyout. That game went from being an indie development to it got bought out, and then they just ran it straight to the ground. And it was on Steam for less than a year. They brought it to Steam. It got huge amounts of gameplay. You never had to wait more than a minute or two to get into a game. And they opened up to cross-platform play, which was really cool. But then they went to Xbox exclusive, and then it died. It straight up died. They lost all marketing. They lost their player base because the majority of the player base was on PC, and it just killed the game. And that is one of the most heartbreaking moments I've ever had with a game. I will never, to this day, feel the way that I feel about that game right there. It doesn't even matter that that game was a MOBA. It could have been any game. Any game that can make me feel like that game made me feel, that's a good game. And I have yet to feel anything like that since or before then for this game. And I'm sorry that this is a rant. I just really fucking love Hyper Universe. And those fucking Chads were so Chad-worthy. I'm sorry that I'm using that term. But literally, the developers for that game were like, hey, we've only been out for a year. Since we spent all of this time and effort in this game, and since we're built by the community, we're letting you know that we're shutting down. And if you log in before we shut down, we'll refund all of the money that you've spent on this game. And they did. They refunded every single dime that somebody had put into that game. That's insanity. I've never heard of a game do that before. I can't believe that game fell down the gutters. Because that game was good. It was the best fucking game I've ever played in my entire lifetime. I will say that there is an alternative to Hyper Universe, and it's not as smooth, and it's not as liquidy, but it is a decently good game. It's a game called Awesome Knots. It too is a 2D side-scrolling MOBA. And in fact, Awesome Knots came out before Hyper Universe. The difference is that the community for Awesome Knots has been a consistently small and dedicated community, and they haven't really budged on who owns them. It's been the same people, I think, for a very long time. And I think that game came out 2012, 2013. So it's relatively old. But there are some things that Hyper Universe did really, really well that Awesome Knots has just... Awesome Knots is in like astronauts. And but Hyper Universe did a lot of the things that Awesome Knots introduced really well, but Awesome Knots just hasn't done that. And the community on Awesome Knots is relatively small, but you can still get into games. It's a fun game, but it doesn't feel as good as Hyper Universe. And so if there's anyone who's wanting to try out MOBAs, if there's anyone who wants to get a different experience from League of Legends, from Dota 2, Heroes of the Storm, whatever the Chinese knockoff of League of Legends is. You know, I mean, everyone loves playing Shrek, but honestly, I highly recommend Awesome Knots. That it's a different experience. It's a different feel. and you might enjoy it. Thank you for the rant. Hyper Universe, you're gone too soon. And Xbox killed you. I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to get so emotional there, Dylan. I'm sorry.
Hmm. Yeah,
Shit.
it's reminds me of the community for like Halo 3, Forge custom games and stuff. That was always super fun.
Yeah.
Kind of a similar community
Mm-hmm. I'm
that
big
died
sad.
when a new game came out. So,
Big sad. Big sad. I'm sure I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that feel a certain like that for a certain game. Hyper Universe was that game for me. Um man. Ugh. Ugh. Okay. Moving on. Moving on. I'm tired of feeling sad. So instead of feeling sad, I'm going to feel pissed.
hmm.
2009 League of Legends hits the scene. The game that takes the world by storm. It's like Dota, but it's new and it's awesome and everyone fucking plays it and they've got all these cool shit and you get all this fun jazz and they're going to start an esports community. And as time goes on and as time goes by, the community gets corrupted and salty and toxic, like accidentally drinking chemical X in huge quantities. So instead of becoming the Powerpuff Girls, they become the Toxics. And that's pretty much the game.
Hmm. Yeah, just the good old salt mines.
It's so bad. The community's terrible.
And it's like one of the biggest MOBAs ever. And still is. Like it's still huge. It's been out for over 10 years and it's
It's
still
2009.
massive.
It came
Yeah.
it came out in 2009. We're getting close to 20 years, honestly. I mean, 2029 is a little ways away, but in the reality of things, that's just around the corner. I almost died. My
Hmm.
armrest on my chair just adjusted. I almost fell out of my seat. um, God, dude, do you remember? Well, you don't
I
remember
don't.
early days of League, but let me give you a
That's
breakdown of the
correct.
early days of League. Early days of League, you hop on your very first game, and it takes you through. Um, I can't remember what the Summoners testing grounds. Okay, proving grounds. Summoners proving grounds. Okay, you get there, and it's like, all right, this is how the game works, and it's really fun. Like genuinely, I think they start you off with Ash, right? That was like one of the main characters at the time. And they throw you in there and you play Ash, and you're like, oh man, that was really fun. And then you play a couple of bot games to get you leveled up, and then you hit level 5 and you play your first real person game. And it's like, congratulations, yada yada yada. And they give you just enough RP, which is their at the time it was B E yeah, it was RP and BP. Um, and so they give you just enough RP, which is the real money, to purchase one skin from the store. And that one skin was Assassin Master Yi. So everyone who started playing way back when probably owns Assassin Master Yi. It's just probably a given. Um, that's how it goes. I started playing the game, I think, in 2012. I'm not proud of that fact. In fact, I took like a 6 year hiatus from that game because of a terrible experience that I had with it. Um, but most people have that skin, and they used to have a 3v3 map, and it was very cool. Like it was a nice alternative to the 5v5. At the time, they didn't have ARAMs yet. If you wanted to do ARAMs, you just started a private match, and everyone agreed to do just mid lane, or you could do proving grounds, which was a little weird for a map, but you could do that, and it was a fun game. Now, Dylan, you're I say you're decently experienced. Do you feel like the game is fun? Or do you
It
think you're
can be.
the experience with the people that you play it with is fun?
Yeah, it can be fun, but I've had several situations because I don't play the game very much at all, and it's been like this for me since like 2015 when I finally broke down and made an account.
Mm.
I'd play it like once or twice a year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play it that much, and every time I go to try a new role, like, ooh, I want to try out jungle, that looks fun, I get yelled at by my teammates for being bad. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, bruh, this is norms, and I'm trying to learn how to play a new role. And go to AI games, bro.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to learn in an AI game? It
It
just is dumb. I hate how toxic the game is, and I hate how toxic the community is. It's just ruins the whole experience. I feel like it would be way more fun if the community was not a bunch of salty assholes.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know when it happened where people just started taking casual norms so fucking seriously, but people will literally like threaten other people's lives in in-game chat, or they'll just like continuously shit on somebody, and not like cyberbullying is something that I truly believe in, but you do get penalized for leaving games. So your choice is to get penalized, depending on how many times you leave a game, penalized 5 minutes or up to multiple weeks, or even having your account banned, to sitting there for a 45-minute game just getting shit on because you don't know how to play the character. Right.
Mm.
And jungle is not fun. A jungle main. Absolutely correct. um, like I don't get it. I've I stopped playing the game at around 2013, 2014 area because of a mutual friend between Dylan and I. I'm not gonna say their name, but it was a just so Dylan gets an idea. The good old G Meister, our like only Asian friend, if you know who I'm talking about.
Mm.
I was playing with them, and dude, they've gotten better, right, since then. Like we were all like in high school, middle school, and stuff. Well, 2012, that would have been high school. Um, they would just constantly shit on everyone's fucking gameplay. If you weren't as good as they were, they would just say like some of the most rotten mean things. And I try not to take that shit personally because they're my friend and I know they're joking. But after like a year's worth of hearing that while playing that game with them, I was like, I'm not gonna fucking play this game anymore. I'm tired of getting shit talked. It's like I'm genuinely trying to learn how to play this game, and you're making it unenjoyable. I don't want to fucking play this game. So I quit. I quit playing the game altogether. And I came back into playing it once I started my job here at the land center, and picked up, to this day, one of my favorite characters of all time, Nami. She's a support character, and I'm not to toot my own horn. I think I'm one of the best fucking Namis out there.
Mm.
In Not out there, but one of the best Namis locally. I'll say that. Um, and when I came back, I came with the mindset that all these people, yo, what's up, P Dog? All these people that are playing League of Legends are super salty. So when I get into a game, I'm just gonna kill them with kindness. I'll be like, "Oh, I love you. Who wants to have tea and cookies here in River?" I've had dance parties in the middle of a fucking ranked game before. I don't give a fuck. And like we'd just be sitting there chilling, like having like a decently good time. I want people to have a good experience with League of Legends, which I think is not found anywhere else in the fucking community. And people will get genuinely mad that I don't get upset at the game. I'm like, guys, this is just a norm. This is just a casual game. It's like I'm just a fish out of the
Or
sea.
even this is just ARAMs because people get salty in ARAMs
Oh,
too.
dude, that's a whole. We'll get to that. But yeah, I just kill them with kindness, and it's like kryptonite to these league players. It's insane. But there are other people who genuinely like I've gotten DMs before after games like, "Hey, thanks for being so chill with me. I wasn't having a great day, and playing with you really helped me enjoy the game. Really made my day better." And that to me is worth it. That right there is, I don't care if I lose a game. I don't care if I don't have a lot of fun. But if somebody else reaches out to me like that, it's like, "Hey, thanks for making this game a better experience for me." That's an automatic win in my book. And League in the recent years came out with like this honoring system. The first time that happened, I got a banner that said that out of 400% more honors than the average League player. I think it might have been higher. I think it was 635% was the exact number. 635% more honors than the average League player. Which means that every game that I played, I was practically getting honors from all of my teammates just for being a fun, down-to-earth person to play with. You know, I might have not made the best plays. I might have not even done so well. But my performance and sportsmanlike conduct was enough for those people to honor me. And just that's why you play these fucking games, all right? Not what these League players do on the basis where they shit talk everybody and
Hmm.
hate their life and just like, I'm gonna drink shit under the sink.
I I died like 4 times in lane. It's the rest of my team that's bad, not me.
To be fair, though, I do like to shit talk my teammates when they're my friends. Like we're in voice chat. I'm not gonna shit talk them like super bad, but like, oh man, our jungler died one time. Oh god, they're trash. Oh, who is this guy? Someone report
Feeding?
this jungler feeding,
You're feeding?
inting. Where was my jungle? And there wasn't even like a fight happening. Like you just happened to get ganked. Like where was my jungle? How come they weren't camping? Where's your tent?
I got touched by the enemy jungle. Where's my jungle?
I got hit by the tower. Where's my jungle? Talk about ARAMs, Dylan. What do you like about it? What do you hate about it?
Uh,
What is ARAMs specifically?
ARAMs is all random. I don't remember what
All
it
mid,
stands for. All mid. Yeah.
all random, all mid.
It's it's uh it's just you jump in, you get a completely random character out of the characters you have unlocked, and you get a couple of re-rolls if you get a character you just do not want to play.
Mm.
And every time you re-roll, they get added to a list where you can just pick them up, and you can trade with your team and all that.
As long as you own
And
that character as well.
yeah, as long as you own that character, and then you jump in. There's no side objectives. There's no like jungle or anything like that, and it's just one big lane that's just a bridge, going over a big ice valley,
Yeah.
and you start off at level 3, so you can get all three of your like basic abilities if you want, and just go ham, and you get a lot more gold to start with, so you can get some decent amount of items. You usually don't have to worry about running out of mana unless you're just constantly fling out abilities,
Mm.
because you just recharge mana a lot quicker, and you get gold a lot faster. So the games are generally a lot shorter, and it's just action all the time because it's 5v5 just on a small-ish area, and you're just constantly fighting and poking at each other until finally you get a pick, and then everything goes crazy and you start pushing all the way down to the last tower. Then they push back and you lose. So it's I enjoy it because I get to play characters I normally would never even touch,
Mm-hmm.
because I usually, when I play norms, I got tired of getting yelled at, so I only play the roles that I know how to play, which is mostly just mid and top.
Mm.
Because I play Ziggs, and Ziggs is good in mid, although he can be played in ADC. And it's a good time, but there are definitely some characters who are completely broken in the game mode.
Dylan,
Uh,
let me hold on. I'm just gonna say a couple names. After each name, I want you to give me your reaction, okay?
Hmm.
Brand.
It's okay. I honestly
Viger.
don't mind brand. Vinegar. I hate vinegar.
Karthus.
As long as I feel like playing Karthus against people is really fun
Yeah, of course it's always fun when you're
because
playing the busted character.
because like because like no one for some reason people in ARAM don't understand that when Karthus dies, he gets like his one of his abilities activates, and if you're close to him, you just take a ridiculous amount of damage, and they just stand there and they let you kill them, so you get free kills.
Mm.
And I don't think he's that bad as long as you know how to play against him.
Dr. Mundo.
I haven't really run into enough Dr. Mundos in
Oh.
ARAMs to really have a strong opinion.
My
Um, I feel like Vinegar is the worst
yeah,
one.
Viger's stupidly broken on that fucking game mode. Because he's got an infinitely increasing ability power with every like a minion kill that he gets and champion kill, and there's a rune that stacks that as well. So it's just exponentially increasing. He just gets more and more powerful as the game goes on. He's ever scaling, and he's got a fucking just a root, and you walk into that, and it takes up practically the whole fucking lane.
Yeah, yeah, that's the main reason why I hate him is because of that one ability. Everything else is fine. It's just that one ability that just ruins it.
I will say that there are two new champions that I no longer like to play against in ARAMs, and that's Nunu with their new snowball, because that thing practically gets the size of the fucking lane,
Mhm.
and Cho'Gath, who now doesn't lose his stacks when he dies, and it also is ever scaling on health, and he literally becomes the size of the lane. Gets hit every time he hits an ability on champ. Yeah, yeah, it's dumb. Um, ARAMs weren't part of the game natively. It, in fact, was a bonus game mode that they did like every so often during the year, much like how Earth mode is ultra rapid fire. I'm very surprised that they haven't made Earth mode like standard. But
Yeah,
I fucking hate that game mode because they're like
I do
one
too.
second cooldowns, everybody. And Soraka at the time was the most busted character when the Earth mode first came out. Soraka had a cooldown time that was already 1 second, and so they just made it less than a second. So you just spam your button. You have infinite mana. You're just like star call, star call, star call. Pew 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 pew. Oh no, you died.
Yeah, I think the I don't know. I think that game mode is just way too chaotic. I just do not enjoy it at all.
Yeah.
I've never had fun playing that game mode,
Yeah.
but it's pretty popular though. Apparently, someone out there likes it.
People, it's a really toxic game mode, and toxic game modes attract toxic people. And no, people love to shit talk in that game. It's like, oh my god, look like you can't believe you fucking died. Of course they fucking died to that. You've got unlimited mana and zero cooldown. You're playing champions that would never be viable.
You can shoot a nuke machine gun. You're gonna win.
Uh, there's one thing, one really good thing, in my opinion, that's come out of League of Legends, and it wasn't even League of Legends' original idea. This was another inspiration from a mod from Warcraft 3. Technically, it was auto chess, Dota auto chess.
Hmm.
And League of Legends auto chess had a resurgence back in like 2016, and it got super popular. And League of Legends was like, we got to hop on this. And they came out with their own auto chess. And TFT, generally speaking, is probably the best thing that's ever come out of League of Legends. It's not a MOBA, but it includes the MOBA characters, and they've got some lore around it and stuff. And TFT is genuinely fun. Like it's a good like brain numbing experience. Like if you don't have a whole lot of thinking power, you can just buy a character, place it on your board, and then they fight for you. It's that simple. I play that game a lot. It's relatively fun.
Yeah, I agree, Zoot. The card game, Legends of Runeterra, is pretty fun, and they're very good about giving you free cards. So yeah, Riot's put out some good stuff. And
I
I'm kind of looking forward to their fighting game too, because it's going to be a free to play fighting game,
mhm.
but we'll see.
They're
It
coming
looks
out with
fun,
a
so
MMO as well.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I want to say something about Legends of Runeterra. I feel bad for anyone who plays against me because I play a mushroom deck, and there's no winning against a mushroom deck. Let me just add some more mushroom cards to your deck there. You wanted to draw something useful? I don't think so. No, no. Any card game that I play, I will play a deck that actively makes the game hell for my opponent. I have zero intentions to win. If I can make you just concede the game, that's how I want to win. I am a terrible person to play against in card games like that. I've done it. I do it on Yu-Gi-Oh with my Ghost Trick deck. I do it in Magic the Gathering with my mill decks. I fucking or like my blue control decks. Like I'll do that shit. Um, what's Hearthstone? I fucking did that shit with Hearthstone. I can't remember what deck I played in Hearthstone. That's been forever since I touched that game. This guy plays blue, not exclusively. Nowadays, I normally play white, and with the new Phyrexia, I hope they're bringing back the Priests of Norn. I'd love to play White Infect again because I
Mm.
had a White Infect deck early on in my Magic the Gathering career, and people fucking hated that deck. And then there was Dylan's Green Black Infect deck, which was is that Grixis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Or my my green mighty deck where I'm like, oh, here's a 1/1 and I only have 5 open mana. What, you're gonna block that? It's just one poison counter. Oh, you don't block it? Okay, before damage calculation, it kills you turn 1. Let me
There
just
was this there was this fucking awful standard in or meta in standard in like I think it was like 2017 or 2018, where T Free, I think his name is, the time wizard dude.
mhm.
He's white blue. And these decks were Esper decks, so blue, white, black.
Yeah.
I think that's the color. And those control decks were the worst to play against. I hated it
Mhm.
because you just couldn't do anything. You were just sitting there watching them play. That's all you could do.
Yeah. The the Theros game set, those 3 that came out, it was Theros, Born of the Gods, and something else. Uh, Blue White Control was super big then, and then in Kaladesh, whose main thing was like artifacts and vehicles and shit. The other part of it was like, uh, I can't remember what the fuck they're called. But anyway, the Blue White faction, Blue White always focuses on control, and that was like the other half of Kaladesh. And sure enough, that fucking standard came back where people were like, I'm going to build Blue White and control and lock your shit down. Uh, we're talking about cards during our MOBA podcast,
Yeah.
right?
kind of got off rail there after bringing up Legends of Runeterra.
Yeah. I haven't played League of Legends Wild Rift. I think that's the mobile version of the
Hmm.
MOBA.
It's a little more simplistic from what I've heard.
I wouldn't play it. I Something about mobile versions of MOBAs turned me off really bad. TFT on the phone is fine. You know, it's
Hmm.
you don't have to focus too hard on that.
Well,
Um,
there's that one like I think it's a Chinese MOBA on the phone, Mobile Legends. I
yeah,
think
the
is
rip off of League. Yeah,
I I hear good things about it. It's pretty popular.
there is a full on esports community for that game, and it blows my mind. Uh,
Well, mobile gaming is huge in most of the world outside of the West. like in Asia and stuff, mobile gaming is like the preferred platform to game on.
Yeah, well, that's because, people actually do shit with their lives outside of the world, and most people in the United States of America sit at home at their computer and don't want to fucking move. And we
That's true.
spend more money on a computer than we're willing to spend on a phone.
Mm.
I've never just to sidetrack here because we're talking about mobile gaming. I've never understood the concept of a Razer fucking phone, but they have them. Razer has a phone. It's a gaming phone, and I don't get it.
There's a company that kind of specializes in gaming phones, Black Magic.
Yeah,
They and they're not super expensive either. And they have like these unique things, like they have programmable buttons, like shoulder buttons and stuff on their phone, and they're actually cheaper than like modern iPhones or Samsung phones too. But they are not waterproof, and they have like a little RGB fan that spins in the back and stuff.
seventy
It's so
dollar
much
ish.
extra.
$70 phone. Zoo, when was the last time you purchased a phone? Nokia times? A good gaming
70.
You're gonna spend like $200 on a phone that can game nowadays. Um, Samsung. I just saw an ad. I was watching Twitch the other day. I can't remember. It was someone I wasn't subscribed to. So I know it wasn't Zoot because I gave him a 6-month subscription because he's my boy. Um, but I was watching somebody and the new Samsung Note phone came out,
Mhm.
and they were marketing for using it for a gaming platform, not like their normal, like, hey, look all the cool business stuff that you can do. Look at the art features on this. They're like, nah, he's gaming on that phone? That's crazy. I'm like, damn, Samsung going in.
They also don't call them notes anymore. They call them the Ultra.
Yeah,
Samsung
whatever the fuck.
S23 Ultra. It
I don't know.
has the S Pen and stuff. It has
It's
it's the Note, but
it's the
it's
Note.
called the Ultra now.
It's the Note. All right, no one's gonna deny that. Fucking yeah. So, I guess gaming is the future of phone technology. Which, hey, no hate. I'm not gonna hate on it because a gaming phone just means it's gonna be more powerful for other shit. Um, so I'm down for
Mm.
it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 2:16. Dylan, do you have anything that you want to talk about?
No, no. I think well, yeah, I think we covered everything, and I don't want to go too far over. I mean, we are just at an hour, so unless you want to mine crypto with my honestly, with the gaming phones, they're pretty stacked. They can I don't know how efficient they would be at mining crypto, but they could probably do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I do not know about that. All right, ladies and gents, we're gonna raid into Brutal Richard. I hope they're not getting ready to end, but they are live right now. Brutal Richard and we share Discord, so hang out, check out what they're about. I'll make sure to get both last podcast's VOD uploaded and this podcast VOD uploaded today. I'll make that my mission. I haven't been feeling so great mentally here recently. But I just want to say thanks, everyone.
Yep.